Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Meet the Candidates. Today, I have with me Mr. James Sloan. James is Bedford County Mayor candidate here in Bedford County. And just so everybody will know, we're doing this for voter education so that people can hear in your words, James, some thoughts that you have. And I'm just going to start by asking you to share with us a little bit about your background and your political affiliation.
All right. So about myself, originally was born in Florida, and I moved to Tennessee not too long after that, about the age of 15. I went to Fred J. Page High School in Williamson County, Tennessee. Went there my last 2 years of high school. A lot of this you can find on my Facebook page, James Sloan for Bedford County Mayor. There I was in varsity football, wrestled a little bit, was in the Rotary Club, did a few things here and there club-wise. Then I went to Columbia State Community College, was there for a short term, took care of my grandfather. He was a World War II and Korean conflict veteran. He needed a little bit of assistance, but not full assistance. Shortly after that, he went to be with the Lord, and I come back to Tennessee. And there I was like, I feel like I want to go into the medical field now. And so kind of was looking at the schools to go to, went to Nashville General Hospital, Health at School Sciences, got my technical diploma in non-invasive cardiovascular diagnostic testing. And from there, I've been in the cardiac field pretty much. And then I said, Williams County is getting a little too expensive. So I come to Bedford County looking for a job and got one at Tonova Hospital. Now it's Vanderbilt Bedford Hospital. And I've been there ever since. And I like living in Bedford County. And I got 2 kids, got married not too long ago. And that's when we decided, hey, maybe we need to have a child. And then we had another one here recently, a little girl in January. And so that's a little bit about me.
Okay, what about your political affiliation?
I'm a constitutional conservative Republican, foremost.
Okay, so you'll be running in the Republican primary?
Correct.
Okay. All right. What led you to this point to where you said this is the time for James Sloan to run for Bedford County Mayor? What got you to that point?
Well, to back up, I did run for state rep while I was living in Williamson County, Tennessee. And I only ran because I saw that the integrity of that office was not really integral. That was Glenn Cassidy's seat. He was the House Speaker at the time before he became under federal investigation for using, taxpayer money. And so I said to myself, my dad thought I was crazy. He's like, why would you want to do that? And I was like, well, I've got management experience. And so I feel like I can, which is not really much of what the state rep does. They're mostly constituent based, looking
Right.
for, what their concerns are, what the issues they have, and how they can voice that at the state level. So I thought with my management background in healthcare, and at the time still working in management, that, maybe I need to give it a shot. There needs to be someone with integrity to fill this seat. So it was me and 2 other individuals. We ran. I obviously didn't get that, seat. But it was a good experience to help me in this time running for mayor, which I feel at this time, again, we have an open seat. The mayor's not running. And from the concerns I've heard from people in my area and across the county, from the spaghetti dinners I've been going to and people I've been meeting at the bank or at the store, they just want some change. After leadership that's been in office now for I don't know how many years, they just said, we need someone that has a little bit more mindset of thinking for us.
Right.
The middle, the blue collar, even the white collar, they just said, we just need someone thinking for us and not for big government or even government as it is right now in the county.
Right. Okay. Next, what do you feel like the greatest challenge is for Bedford County today and moving forward to the future?
The biggest challenge right now is we're seeing an increase in cost of living. And we can see that anywhere you look, even in, across states, not just here in Bedford County. And we're seeing in some places, what I'm hearing from my friends in Rutherford County and some of my friends here that I've made in Bedford County, that the cost of living is outpacing the cost of them being able to live in the counties, such as first responders, to protect the counties they live, the communities that they live in.
Right.
And I just said to myself, that's I hate to say it with the English, but that's damn shame where you can't even protect the communities that you got your, schooling in just because of the cost of living. So what I see is we got to stay competitive in a way that, one, doesn't bloat the budget if I were to be elected mayor, but we're still seeing people making a living wage. And also We need to attract more business. We need to attract more tourism in a way if we can. But that's not to say looking at all options. But new taxes, that's not an option in my mind. We got to stop taxing the people because, in a sense, I'm not saying like all taxes. I'm just saying
Sure.
no new taxes and keep taxes low if we can. If we could see where we can actually cut them down or not have them increase in a year. And if I was elected mayor, I would look at all those options to try to work with people to say like, hey, like, I know that's not in my power to do, but I would like to try to work with some of the commissioners and those that have that authority and power to say like, hey, we got to figure out a way that it makes it sensible that we can cut without increasing.
Right. Okay. Next question. What is your favorite thing about Bedford County?
Well, I loved going to, and still would love going to the horse show every year. Whenever I was a kid, my dad, he moved up here in 1997. And that's the reason why I want to move up here. There's a lot of things I loved about Tennessee. And we'd always, whenever I had chance that year, to go over to the horse show. And it just seems like year after year, there's been less of a turnout for that. And if I could, I would love to go back to that with a lot more people. So like I said, getting back to that tourism thing, if we could have more people showing out for that, like there used to be, like the streets used to be filled, and
Right.
I love the busyness of Bedford. I still like going to the horse show, but I would even love it more if we had more people showing up.
Okay. If you could wave a magic wand and change anything about Bedford County, what would it be?
I come from a small town. I love small town. I don't like big government. I don't like increased taxes. So that's kind of why I moved to Bedford, is because it has a low tax base or low taxation. And I like fair taxation. So if we can try to keep Bedford from becoming the Rutherford or Williamson of the Middle Tennessee area, then I would love to keep it just the way it is, in a sense of no new taxes, keeping taxes low, making sure people have a living wage, and that everyone wants to actually come here and live, in a sense of vertical growth, not across the land. Because I do believe, like I said, not to get like Rutherford and Williamson, we do have unsensible growth, and we need to kind of be cautious with that and conservative with how we grow, because the more we grow, in a sense, across the land, we're going to have to put more infrastructure in, and more infrastructure in the ground means increasing taxes, and that's a cost to the taxpayer. So we got to figure out how do we get ahead of it before we just let the cart get before the horse.
Right. Okay. At this point, I'm going to let you have the microphone. If there's anything that you'd like to say to the folks out there about what you'd like to do going forward, now's your time to just voice that.
Well, I know interviews aren't perfect. I'm not perfect. I might have missed some things in this interview to actually talk about myself. A lot of this information more so is on my Facebook page, James Sloan for Bedford County, Tennessee. Things that I'm just now thinking about that I didn't mention earlier. I'm going for my federal license in taxation as a United States tax practitioner that has a lot of understanding with it, coming for how people are taxed, how people can help understand their taxation. I help businesses. After I get my license, I can help them. Even with tax resolution. So I'm hoping that after I get my federal federal license in taxation, that I can probably try to bring as much of that knowledge to the local level, because I know that there's people in this county that probably needs tax resolution. And I know the county has someone that comes in to the county to help people with under a certain income, that they help them do their taxes for free. So if I can try to help them, anyone that has or needs tax resolution, maybe I can try to do that in the county if elected mayor and after I get my federal license. But also I'm working on my paralegal, certificate or certification. So with that, understanding a little bit more legalese or legal matters. So that way, if I was elected mayor, I could understand a little bit more from that perspective too.
Right.
But like I said, you can find a lot of this on my Facebook profile, James Sloan for Bedford County, Tennessee. I do have an Instagram account, but that's Sloan for BC. But I hardly get around to posting on there.
Right. So Facebook is your place.
Pretty much. And like I said, I'm not perfect. I am the person that I'll learn anything. You task me with it, I'll learn it. It's kind of like what Albert Einstein says, this is paraphrasing, but not everyone has the answer. But as long as you're willing to go out there and find it, that's all that matters.
Yeah. Well, all right, James, thanks for sitting down with us and sharing your story and answering these questions. Again, thank you for watching, and we'll be back again real soon with another edition of Meet the Candidates.